A&M finds a new way to win, and that's massive. That's a massive story to me, because what I thought could be potentially, we thought that this could be the rat poison theory in play, starting to believe your own hype coming off of a bye. Offense didn't look great, but the thing that I can step away from this game with Texas A&M was not only were you able to go on the road in South Bend and beat a Notre Dame team 41-40, you had to put up 40 points to beat them, but you were also able to fight and win a rock fight against an Auburn program that has a very talented defense. We'll talk about the offense here shortly, but your defense stepped up to the plate. Because one of the concerns, I think, internally with Texas A&M, and what a lot of people who follow college football took note of, was, sure, A&M was able to get that impressive win. They don't do this, all that stuff. But the defense did give up 40. And that's kind of what sold them at the end of last year for that November month that they lost to South Carolina, Auburn, Texas, all that, you know? And the defense, did it really improve? You lose 2 edge defenders that went in the first 2 rounds of the NFL draft. You begin to wonder, did this defense get better? Did Mike Elko really put his paws on this? And then we get to Auburn. Now, it is Jackson Arnold. But at the end of the day, if you were a defense that was prone to explosives, those 20-yard pass plays, and we saw Oklahoma, a very good defense. Auburn had some success around that. Obviously, we have like the 10-plus sacks, but there were moments where Auburn had found some success. A&M turned that around and got 0 for 13 on third down. If you got Auburn on third down, drive was over. Drive was over. 52 rush yards. Some of the notion with Texas A&M's defense was you were going to be able to run the football on them. 125 pass yards. You couldn't throw on them. And what really, I think, slowed this game down, because I think a lot of the guys that watch all 22 tape, a lot of film, just go check their records on what they've all said when watching this game. How did A&M not blow them out by 20? Because you could see it on the field, the line of scrimmage, everything across the board. Check, 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 check. Texas A&M was the better team here. But why was it still, 10-point win here? Well, 23 penalties across both teams. What I was a little worried about was the whole makeup call situation after Auburn, Oklahoma. They were quick to throw the penalty flags, to say the least. A&M's also not been the most disciplined in terms of that. Some of the pass interferences. That's what I'm a little concerned about when we talk about Mississippi State tomorrow. But at the end of the day, Texas A&M not only stepped up defensively, but they won offensively in a unique fashion. Not unique in the terms of just a football game, but we had been talking about Texas A&M as this passing offense that can throw all over the football field. Craver, Concepcion, Bussey, all of these, right? But what were we talking about going into the season? That they could run the damn ball. Amari Daniels, Reuben Owens, and Le'Veon Moss with Marcel Reed. And Le'Veon Moss, who apparently was sick going into this game, not 100%, ran all over this Auburn defense that was number 1 in the SEC going into this game in terms of rushing defense or defense overall. And the fact that Texas A&M was able to win in that fashion, was able to win in the way that we saw against Notre Dame, if they are able to win in multiple ways, that's a college football playoff team. That's the difference. The problem with Texas A&M last year was it was very narrow in how they were going to win football games, especially with the revolving door at the quarterback position. But once Le'Veon Moss went down, their identity of running the football, ball control football, playing just a good enough defense to keep you in this game was gone. And that's why we turned and saw what happened against November, where South Carolina, Auburn, you weren't able to run the ball effectively because Moss is the heartbeat. He doesn't, I'm not kidding when I say this, maybe 3-4 times in his career has he been tackled for a loss. He's always going to push the line forward. And we saw a little bit of Reuben Owens get out in the open field, first time since his injury where he was really moving. Even Amari Daniels. The one concern I have is it doesn't seem like Marcel Reed is super interested in running the ball. I hope he's not too in his head of wanting to be the passer. I think he's proven himself that. I do think he needs to hit some of his deep throws, but this was an impressive win for A&M. And for Auburn, I'll say this before we close this chapter on this game. You can't fire Hugh Freeze. As much as you may want to, I'm talking to Auburn Tiger faithful right here. You've invested too much into this team. You just have. You're going to lose Cam Coleman. You're going to lose all the talented pieces on this defense because of how good you've been able to recruit and bring in portal guys. You can't just click the restart button. You're going to start what? Another 3-year rebuild? Because I think that's what's going to happen. Are you going to be non-competitive for 90% of the 2020s in what is going to be the golden age of college football to acquire talent, at least in that perspective? Auburn is going to sit around and just buy out another head coach. You invested so much to Hugh Freeze. We're just going to burn that money, guys. I think as unfortunate as it is, unlike like a guy like Billy Napier, with Hugh Freeze, they've put their chips all into the middle for a guy like Freeze, for him to work out. And what I could see the path being is they move to Deuce Knight. Deuce Knight shows enough. And you go into next year and you say, maybe Deuce Knight is the jump that you get, that he's the quarterback of the future, because clearly the Arnold experiment did not work. It didn't work. He is just not a good quarterback. It is one read, we're going over here, or we are potentially running with the football, or I'm holding it in the pocket and taking a sack. Guys, he's a 5-star. That's all he's got. He doesn't have this crazy arm. He's not this crazy plus athlete. And in terms of up here, he's just not good enough. And I remember Auburn fans telling me, you could go check out my TikTok, way back in the offseason when I was concerned about this offense. I said, their scrimmages have been bad. Defense is dominating. I was told, well, defense is traditionally dominating the scrimmage. Talk to me now. That's all I'm saying. Talk to me now. This Auburn offense is what's going to hold them back from even being competitive this year. So at what point do you pull the trigger on Deuce Knight and try to salvage not only your job, but the talent that has been invested in this roster? Because I think the talent of this roster is great. It's the quarterback and the offense that's being limited. And we can talk about the offensive line too, but when you have a quarterback that's going to hold on the ball for that long, it's not going to happen.